Hello and welcome to webinar series hosted from Happiest Health. Happiest Health, a global knowledge platform on health and wellness, brings to you a series of webinars on various health topics. I am Kumaran, and I will be your host on this session on food for thought and healthy living. You are what you eat, a widely known statement that you are all aware of. On this World Health Day, we bring this discussion on nutrition, on how it plays a key role in a person's physical health. It directly affects emotional well-being too, say experts. We tend to separate our brain from the rest of our body, but good health means good health from a holistic experience, from head to toe. According to World Health Organization, a healthy diet helps to protect against malnutrition in all its forms, as well as non-communicable diseases, including diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and cancer. Unhealthy diet and lack of physical activity are leading global risks to health. To discuss this and much more in detail, we have with us two experts who will try and bring us some facts about how food can change many health conditions. We have with us Ms. Pavithra N Raj, Chief Dietitian at Manipal Hospitals, Bengaluru, who has a decade and a half experience in food science and nutrition. She has a vast academic experience and a diploma as a diabetes educator from International Diabetes Federation called HOPE. She has then worked as a project assistant in CFTRI Mysore, which gave her the scope of presenting papers and articles in various journals, which were diet-related, both national and at an international levels. She has a strong conviction that for a healthy lifestyle, an individual must give prominence to his or her healthful diet. She further ascertains that unhealthy eating habits and a nutrient-deficient diet ruins health and productivity, thus paving the way for lifestyle problems and metabolic diseases. Currently, our activity is focused on counseling individuals on food safety and nutrition, a way to healthy living, which she stresses so that inpatients in the hospitals reduce their hospital stay, there's a good recovery and freedom from infection. Further, she's assessing the nutritional requirement for all patients inside the hospital regularly and monitoring the food services of the hospital, randomly checking on the cafe kitchen services, constantly reviewing the outpatient pediatric, diabetic, cardiac, obesity, and GI clinics for nutrition education, and diligently counseling individuals before discharge from the hospital. We are happy to have you on the panel, ma'am, and welcome to this session.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Another expert in the field, Ms. Deepa Nandy, a dietitian, sports nutritionist, weight loss expert, and diabetes educator from Mumbai. She's a practicing nutritionist with more than 15 years of experience and specializes in the field of sports nutrition, obesity management, fat loss, muscle gain, diabetes, and lipid management. She currently runs her own diet and nutrition consultancy where she focuses on helping people identify the root cause of health issues. Through the power of real food, she helps people find freedom from diets and chronic health conditions so they can live their life to the fullest without counting calories ever again. Her aim is to help people recompose and revitalize their bodies by guiding them through nutrition and exercise. She empowers individuals to take responsibility for their health, enabling them to achieve their own unique goals. We welcome you, Ms. Deepa Nandy.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me such a warm welcome.
Thank you. To begin our session today, I would like to start with Ms. Pavithra. Ms. Pavithra, when we start talking about nutrition, when we start talking about food, diet is something that we always want to concentrate on. So diet is always associated with weight loss programs. We also have with you Ms. Deepa also, who works on the weight management programs. What is, in your opinion, a healthy diet?
See, people think diet means matlab they stop eating their loving foods. No, that doesn't mean that. See, diet means choosing right food, right healthy food is more important. What do you think people when they hear the word diet, They think, oh, I have to deprive eating all my loved food. I have to stop eating sweets or whatever it is. No, healthy choice is more important here. Okay. And then see, instead of counting calories, you have to count the varieties. You have to go with the colors and then maintaining the time. So all this actually matters what we call it as healthy diet. So eating right food on right time so is more important. So that means that diet doesn't mean that you have to stop eating everything you love.
Right. With that particular crisp answer on not stop eating with everything that you love, I'll come to Ms. Deepa. Exactly the question. My question is all about on the same perspective. Isn't it high time, ma'am, that we start a healthy and nutritious diet always? And what is your opinion on having a balanced diet? And not wait until you fall sick and start on a diet regime. What is your opinion on that?
Okay, so we all know that prevention is better than cure, right? So if we do not really start early with eating healthy and nutritious food, basically nutrient dense food, then we can very soon, it can, if we don't do such a thing, it can lead us to all chronic conditions like diabetes, hypertension, cancer, obesity. Now, typically what happens is when we are young, we eat all types of foods that's there in front of us. And it doesn't really bother us. We don't even get affected by these lifestyle conditions. But as we start getting older, around the age of 35 to 40, we suddenly see that our activity levels have lowered. And since our activity level starts lowering down, our body also starts slowing down. But our activity level slows down, but the amount that we eat still almost remains the same. And in that process, we land up eating much, much more than what is required. And then comes in obesity. And with obesity comes in, it's not that you just immediately get in obesity, but gradually you step in there, you become overweight, then gradually, if there's no check, you land up into a place where there is a place of course, there is always a place of return, but it becomes difficult. So always tap it as early as possible. And when you reach there, so now how this happens, typically when we are small, we eat all kinds of food, even junk food. And those junk foods are typically very, very hyper palatable. We love it. Once we eat them, our body always wants for more. And our brain gets hijacked and we say, oh, we have eaten a little bit of this, why not go on for more and more? And our brain remembers the taste very well. So as we get older and older, those foods really need to reduce, and go more towards the healthier aspects, a complete balanced meal, inclusive of your whole grains, lentils, lean proteins, healthy fats, lots of fruits and vegetables. And if you eat them properly at the right time and eat your meals well with these kind of foods, I'm quite sure you will be there. Body will never go into that condition of obesity or diabetes or cardiovascular conditions or high blood pressure. But yes, again, there's something called genetics. We cannot really fight that. We can sometimes land up into these conditions, even staying lean, and that's a different ballgame altogether. Yes, and once we catch up with these conditions, we should immediately consult a doctor, take their help, and along with doctor's help, prescribe a good nutrition plan for them and let them follow. Because there's nothing. I mean, it's never too late for anything.
Right, ma'am. So we'll come to the point on genetics, and that's how a lot of people are born like that. So we'll come to that point a little later. But then we understand that importance of starting a diet is really required to start now and then wait until you fall sick. With that point, Ms. Pavithra, I wanted to also ask you on this particular question. Of course, you are monitoring the entire cafe kitchen, you're monitoring all the food habits of what the inpatients and outpatients of the hospital. But do you think that diet and nutrition is only related to food? or are there any other determining factor, according to you?
See, diet in the sense, people, how much physical activity they do, how is the body metabolism. So all this also matters a lot. If few people tend to eat more because their metabolism is like that. So see, for an example, a person can take around 1,200 calories every day, but that is a minimum what we can eat. I think Deepa will agree with me. So
Yes.
minimum around 500 calories a person has to burn every day. So that is the intake output ratio. To burn 500 calories, age, okay, lot of things gets involved in it. So minimum 1 hour physical activity, that high intensity physical activity we have to do. As age progresses, the body metabolism also will come down. At the age of 40 or 50, you cannot do workout as you are doing around the age of 20, 25. So all this matters a lot. So when the intake is there, output also should be there. So that is more important.
Right.
Can I add?
Ma'am,
Can I add one more factor?
sure. Sure. Yes. Go ahead.
With good health, with nutrition and exercise, which is absolutely true, because nutrition and exercise go hand in hand. They're two sides of coins. One cannot go without the other. Sleep and stress-free living is also very important to stay healthy.
Right. Absolutely. Ma'am, Pavithra ma'am, so you were talking about the calorie consumptions and the nutritional value at the beginning, when we're talking about what's this diet all about. Ma'am, so according to you, should healthy diet be about calorie consumption and all nutritional value? Which should guide you?
See, we think we have to focus on nutritive value. I'll give you an example. See, when we compare our breakfast with the bread and the chapati, the bread is made out of maida. One slice of bread, depending on your, like a sandwich bread, depending on the thickness and size and all, might also give you around 80 calories. Same your chapati, which is made from wheat, also one chapati, again, depending on little smaller to bigger size, might give you around 80 to 100 calories. So when we see that, what is healthy? Your bread is, which is made of maida, is not so healthy because that doesn't cause any, it doesn't have anything. It is only made out of fiber. Correct. But your chapati, which is made out of wheat, is a good fiber, with good protein, and you get a lot of nutrition from that. So when we compare that, you should always not to see the calorie. You have empty calories, and then you have healthy calories. So choosing healthy calorie is more important. So you need to focus on nutritive value more than your calories.
Okay, nutritive value more than your calories. Thank
Yes,
you for.
and one more thing, what I want to add is, see, when we are having a good meal, when your function meal or your marriage meal and all, so
Yeah.
if you eat one piece of a sweet, either your jamun or whatever it is equivalent to our meal. Matlab, it will give you around 250 to 300 calories what sweet we eat. So it's the double amount of calories we are taking. So there is zero nutrition, correct? So this is how we need to compare.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for bringing that into perspective, ma'am. I again come back to Ms. Deepa. So, diet is something a very fearful factor for a lot of them, to be very honest. And as you attend your celebrities, you attend your sportsmen's. So being fatigued is one of the reasons, ma'am, why people actually don't go for diet or sustain it. I think so. But how do you ensure day-to-day energy level is at optimal level and not feeling fatigued due to diet?
Okay, so typically when you're in a very well balanced and a healthy diet, you should not
Yeah,
be feeling fatigued.
yeah, yeah,
So what happens is, whenever my clients, I'm talking in terms of my clients' perspective. So when they come to me and they start a diet, initially their first complaint is fatigue. But the minute I
yeah,
set them into a balanced diet and I tell them, you follow these, at least try following these guidelines that I have given you. Try maintaining the diet the way I have told you. After a week, when they come to me, they say, Deepa, I'm feeling so light and full of energy. So that
okay,
what happens is, typically as the diet, see, most of them come to me for weight loss or fat loss. There has to be some calorie deficit to get that weight loss. So typically when you're eating a little less, you have to eat a little less to get that calorie deficit. So what happens with that? little psychologically also, it puts them off that I'm eating less, so I'm feeling a little weak. And it does happen that little fatigue can set in because there's a lot of water that comes out from the body, and along with that comes out your electrolytes also. So in that process, you may feel a little fatigue. So when they call me that I'm feeling fatigue, I tell them, please wait, hold on, drink plenty of water, eat your food well, and just wait for one week or 1.5 week max. After that, it will all settle down. And that is exactly what happens. But if anybody typically feels fatigued all the time, and if they are really by a diet, which is actually not right, with a balanced diet, you will always feel good, energetic. Hydration, as I just told, hydration plays a vital role. You have to drink your water and fluids very well. Then you have to stop skipping meals. Many skip meals, they think, chalo, I will lose more weight, and let me just, even they don't follow the way I ask them to do, they'll just say, okay, let's skip dinner today. Tomorrow
Right.
I'll see a lesser. People are weight crazy. They keep standing on the weighing scale every day to check if their weight has dropped or not, right? So
Right,
they'll skip a meal. So typically with skipping
But
meals,
also
your sugar.
but also your point on how people feel fatigued at the initial time, and then they kind of come to you and then they say, okay, maybe this is not the way that I was following, but this is the way that I should have done.
Yes.
But this entire concept of feeling fatigued while following the diet is only at the initial part, or is it actually in the entire long run? How is it?
No, it's mainly initial parts. That's what I have for so many years. I have seen my clients feel fatigue only in the initial first week or 1.5 weeks. After that, and I keep talking to them very often, so that they don't come out, let it go off. I mean, I'm there with them, holding their hands. Yes, you can do it.
Right,
Drink plenty of water. Maybe eat a little bit more fruits, just to feel happy. Keep hydrating with chash, those kind of things, buttermilk. And then they feel good. And of course, then the fatigue feeling goes off. And of course, along with that comes sleep, good sleep. You have to sleep well, and you have to de-stress, as again, the last 2 points, as I always say.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ms. Pavithra,
I have
yes.
a point in this. See, actually, what happens when a person joins a gym or they start doing any physical activity? What we generally have to advise is first week or when they join a gym or they start a new activity, they should eat the same thing what they are eating throughout. What people will do the day one when they hit the gym, they start with the dieting, where body will not get adjusted to your diet and physical activity. So then you feel tired, and from day two, nobody hits the gym. Correct?
Yeah.
So day one of the physical activity, it's always better that you eat whatever you're eating on the same like routine. Then you have to taper your diet looking towards the weight loss.
Right. Ma'am, so if that's the point, I would also like to ask you, so what is the right age to follow a healthy diet, ma'am? So is there, we say we need to start from young. Anyway, we'll come to that point again. But what is the right age? Because aren't we supposed to start healthy diet from home where we are young? Because most of us feel that the effects of unhealthy food styles come only at the later stage, and when you fall sick and then you start a diet, or what is the right age?
See, we have to start from day one when the kid start eating. Okay, that is one thing. Second part, dining table practice is more important nowadays. Kids sit in front of TV, they sit in front of mobile, so they eat. They don't know what they're eating. They don't know how much they're eating. So all this. And third part is ancestor food is always the one which we have to tell them to follow. Because see, our ancestors was not knowing, they don't have knowledge of any nutrition, correct? Our even idli, dosa or dokla or whatever is designed with good amount of carbohydrates and protein. At younger age, kids they don't want any diet, but they should start eating the ancestor foods. It's not that from day one people start giving them cornflakes or chocos or all these fancy foods. No, healthy nutrition start from day one. And what type of nutrition is whatever we are cooking at home, whatever traditional food. Either you are a Kannadiga, either you are a Tamilian, or either you are so like that. From day one, whatever is being done, that has to be followed. And even the festivals, what is being designed, matlab in Indian community, when you see, the festivals all are also designed according to the climatic conditions, correct? So whatever we do, Shankranti or whatever it is, the food which has your sesame and till and all that is depending on the climatic conditions. So
Yeah.
day one onwards, what we start is always important, and you have to start that from your childhood.
Right, right. Thank you so much. I think this brings us a big concept on how do we actually start the diet, and what is lacking in the youngsters these days. Thank you for bringing that point, Ms. Pavithra. Also, the point on Deepa, if I could come to you, from sports and gym concepts, the intake of protein and supplement concept has come up. For instance, if someone is taking supplements and you think it is not needed for them, what is your take on this? And also, if you could just throw us some light on natural and synthetic supplements that the sports enthusiasts follow.
Okay, so typically, see, typically in terms of gym, whenever you are, somebody's coming to me, and he's gymming or he's some kind of activity, some intense activity, some form of exercise. And there is a tendency to supplement. They take it all on their own. They don't even realize they need it or not. They don't even think that every food that they're taking, whatever they are doing has to be assessed. So that assessment is very, very important. So what do? Is first I do a goal setting. I do a goal setting. How? By understanding their fitness level and what is the body composition they are looking at, what level of body composition they're looking at. And then what I do is I typically, what quantity of each nutrient does that person need and at what time, so that most effectively he or she can reach their goal. And thirdly,
right.
Can that person at a specific can get this specific nutrient quality and quantity at the proper time and on a regular basis, on a daily basis. And all this is seen through a lens of, by understanding the daily food record. We take an assessment of the food record, understanding their activity and their food options. Are they vegetarian? Are they vegan? Are they non-vegetarian? And then set up their supplement requirement. Of course, activity plays a massive role for protein supplementation. And the micronutrients, typically, of course, when you see their eating patterns, you can understand what exactly one needs. Then, of course, even male, females have different requirements, which we can talk about later. So this is how typically one should assess and not take. But it's a fad, okay, I have heard from my friend, I should take this supplement. This works very well it worked very well for him, it should work very well for me. And that's how they just start popping in pills. So it is a bad practice, but yes, when they come to me, I always do that assessment, understand their macro and the micronutrient needs, and then give them this thing. But main thing is, if you eat your whole foods, there's nothing, supplements can never be ever compared to your whole foods. Now, typically, even at my age, I still do weight. I am a hardcore weight training enthusiast.
Oh,
so
great.
Yes, I am. So even at my age, I need that amount, and typically at my age, I need a good amount of proteins to help me with that, and I almost live like a man. So that is my lifting capacity. So I need good amount of proteins. But I still prefer my fish, my eggs. I'm a Bengali, so fish is my staple. So I love eating my fish after I do a weight training session. And sometimes when I do very strenuous work, I do that whey protein powder, but otherwise I still land up with whole foods. I prefer the whole foods to the supplementation. But yes, typically many vegetarians, when they cannot meet up to their levels, I advise them whey protein powder for a protein supplementation after the
Okay. After a detailed consultation. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Now
here, can I add one thing? Here,
yes, sure,
when they start, when they start taking any pill or something, it's always better to get a blood check done and see where they are standing in terms of vitamin D or vitamin B12. So what people do is unnecessary they take, which will finally end up having some issues like kidney problems and things like that. So if really they want to take, let them do a blood checkup. So they let them see where they are standing and then let them take it forward.
Right.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, Pavithra, I will come to the exact question that everyone is bothered about. What is right? What is not right? So there are so many diets, multiple regimes that people are following. How can a common man follow a single diet, ma'am? Or is there a diet for that matter? Because this is something that I think the Dr. Google has always helped us in find out anything and everything, and we are not able to find out what is it. So if you could just throw us some light on that.
See, balanced diet means good amount of cereals. Cereals in the sense, what we say is not to go with too much of polished rice, like unpolished rice. You have a lot of other cereals like millets and wheat or whatever it is. And then good amount of fruits, at least 2 servings of fruits every day, 2 servings of vegetables every day. So this kind of normal food is basically what we tell balanced diet. It's not that I hog on a burger and I hog on a pizza. No, that is not called as balanced diet. Balanced diet in the sense morning you have breakfast normal. Either you want to have a North Indian breakfast, South Indian breakfast, or sometime even oats and things like that are fine. And then typically your lunch should be a balanced meal. How, as Madam told, like chapatis or sabjis with good amount of again lentils and pulses and all. And dinner, keep it very light. But what we do, we are doing opposite. After the heavy work, we go and we hog on a dinner and go to bed, which is actually not required. Lot of people are breaking their matlab, your breakfast means you're breaking your 12 hours fast. People are not having breakfast because they're very busy in the morning. They just eat something and then they rush to office. No, breakfast should be a healthy meal, what you eat, because you're breaking your 12 hours fast. That is a must meal. Then your lunch should be a complete meal. As I told, it's lentils and then salads and things like that. And your dinner should be very light food. Even a bowl of soup or oats or anything is fine, but very light food. But you should not do an opposite and go to bed. You should not have heavy food and go to bed. Balanced diet means good amount of protein, fruits, vegetables, and your cereals. So completely all this, whatever we say, the food groups has to be taken care.
Right. Ma'am, having said that, again, I'll ask you, in an urban setup, for example, what is the course correction that is needed? Where are we going wrong?
See, because of the busy lives, so we
Yeah.
are more into instant foods. That is
Yeah.
where things are going wrong. See, when a kid come from the school, we give them some instant food. We don't cook anything like olden days. Olden days, some foods was cooked, even a snack, and it was given. Now
Yeah.
we are not doing. So that is a major problem.
Right. Thank you. Ms.
So once,
Deepa.
as I
Yes,
mentioned,
sure.
hyper palatable foods, they are so much there in the market. You step out of your house, it's just there next on the road on the other side, that those
Yeah.
hyper palatable foods. That's just hijacking each and every one. And secondly, those apps, all there ready for you to deliver at your doorstep. And
Yeah. We will actually come to that point. We have few questions from the audience already, and they've asked us few questions. I think one of the points in that list is something about this. I'll take that question a little later. Ms. Deepa, so one last question that we are covering the whole concept of food for thought and healthy living. So, men and women, are there any differences in terms of diets that needs to be followed?
so typically, the basic protocol is the same for male and females,
Okay.
but typically when it comes to male, they are, because of their height and weight, and they have more muscles, they require more calories. They always need more calories than a woman. Again, they are more muscular in size. So since they have more muscles, more protein requirement for them. And then thirdly, hormones. Hormones play a role in our body. So men, if they want to, typically for more muscle, testosterone booster, zinc works as a very good testosterone booster for them. And they can have more of zinc-rich foods. And then for women, it's typically because of the menstrual cycle. They have because of the menstrual cycle, they tend to be lower in iron levels. So supplementing or eating more than supplementing, eating iron-rich foods for women works very well. Then thirdly, again, calcium for women, bone density, managing the bone density as you start touching perimenopause and menopause. You'll end up with osteopenia. So that can also cause issues like, osteopenia. And so calcium levels need to be increased, or vitamin D levels need to be increased. You have to take them very, very seriously. And so typically, and then menopausal women, soy isoflavones and phytoestrogen work very well for reducing all these menopausal symptoms, and it works well. Plus, yes, basically these are the main. During pregnancy, folic acid, that is also required for women. So these are the basic changes, typically what differences in male and females when they are, in their nutrition pattern, in their nutrition eating habits. Yes.
Oh, okay. So again, if I could say the hormonal changes could lead to. So on the same point, I would like to ask Ms. Pavithra. So, ma'am, what Deepa was sharing was about at different stages of. So, for example, right from puberty to menopause in women, there are different needs in terms of nutrition value. How to address these requirements?
As I told earlier, we need to judge, and then from the younger age, correct, what we are giving the food and things like that needs to be monitored from day one. All this good nutrition food has to be incorporated. And then I told you one thing also. See, at home, if the kid is telling, I don't eat this food, what we do, we cook another food and give. So those practices and all has to be avoided. And then the normal food, what is cooked in the family and all has to be given. So that is one thing. And then varieties of fruits and vegetables and things like that, which has to be given. So all this is important to take care, to balance and take care of the nutrition.
Ma'am, when you say to take care and balance this particular kind of a nutrition, as a dietitian, I would like to ask you this question. What are the toughest challenges that you come across?
Toughest challenges is again likes and dislikes of a person. So planning a diet chart according to how a person wants is actually not a right thing when it comes to certain diet thing. When we do, we have to tell them that you have to eat. Okay. So a lot of people are there, when we tell them to eat a lot of water content vegetables, they say, that I cannot eat and things like that. But we have to talk to them, convince to them what is the importance of taking. Like I'm just giving you an example of a vegetable, correct? So what is the importance of those kinds of vegetables which you have to take? What is a good thing? See, like we have to explain them. This is a cruciferous vegetables. What are the importance of this? And what are the examples of root vegetables? So like that, convincing them is actually a toughest, and then that is a challenging role as a counselor for all of us.
Okay.
So one more
Deepa, how would you put it?
Can I add something little bit to this?
Sure. This question is for you as well.
Okay,
so what are the toughest challenges as a dietitian? This question is for you.
Typically, compliance is really a problem. I mean, we cannot get 100% compliance from our clients. Some of them are very, very true to whatever I tell them to do, they do it. But many are roughly, I would say 70%, 30%, 70 compliant, 30 not compliant. So that's the way it goes. Then children, especially when kids come to me, I would say young boys and girls, they hate eating vegetables. They just hate. So it's a tough time, making them explain and make them understand the importance of vegetables in one's life. So I really put it. Then I tell them, let me talk to your mama, and I call their guardians there so that I can talk to them about their eating habits, eating pattern, and then when the mothers tell me that yes, when you say, maybe he'll get convinced and he will start eating. So this is a second problem. Third problem is time. They don't give nutrition that priority. It's in the last priority list. They will, today I have to go there. Sorry, ma'am, I can't come. Sorry, I can't. They keep us waiting for a long period of time. Nutrition goes in the last priority list for them.
Right. So when you're saying that the compliance value and 70% are compliant and 30% are not compliant, Ms. Pavithra, I want to ask you. So hospital foods and the diets that you give it to individuals who come to the hospital, and they also want to practice at home. How to make a diet tasty? How do you enjoy this process? Maybe when you answer this question, maybe that compliance ratio will go into 90 and 10 probably. So what do you want to say about this?
See, it's not that using only butter and ghee makes the food tasty. There are a lot of herbs you can use to make it
Right.
tasty. There are a lot of other Indian spices also where you can make it tasty. Okay, so I think nowadays a lot of people use, as you told, Google is there. A lot of YouTube's recipes is there. So as Deepa ma'am told, for kids, mothers use a lot of Google's recipes these days. They see the YouTube and then they try to make it more nutritious. Uh, so that is one thing. See, even when we are feeding our kids, so it's not that pizza from outside. We can do a bread pizza in the home. It's just that you would have to boil some tomato, blanch it, and then do it like a sauce and put it on a bread and give. So like that, you can do a enhancing of the taste. You can. It's not that only by using a lot of fatty foods or things like that. You can use a lot of herbs. You can use even your ginger, garlic. These kinds of food things are there, the natural things, you can use it and you can make the food tasty. It's just that you have to have an idea how to make it more tastier. See, as ma'am told, we always tell kids mother, so they're not eating palak, blend it and put it in the chapati and make it colorful. So the chapati is green in color, the chapati is red in color with beetroot, it's more tastier. So this is how you need to have little cooking. Actually, what I say is cooking is an art. So how
Yeah.
you paint, how you improve your art, so you have to improve in your cooking skills.
Right, right. Ma'am, you also said herbs are there to make your food colorful, tasty, and everything. So, one of the questions our audiences have asked is, are spices really bad for health, or the quantity is?
The spices are not bad for health. They are very good. Actually, a lot of spices have antioxidant effects, but how much they take, as you told, plays an important role. Too much of garam masala might increase the pH level of a stomach, or the acidity problem generally happens because too much of biryani outside and things like that, where a lot of garam masalas are used. That might not suit your stomach and have irritation. Light masalas is always fine. Your haldi is very good. Your jeera powder is very good. So all these are also considered as spices. So limited quantity is always a better option. And yes, of course, it is good. You have to take it.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am. So, Ms. Deepa, one last question that I want to ask you. As a sports nutritionist, there's something very common that people keep asking you: can I eat anything and everything, and just is burning those calories? Yeah.
No, that can never happen. As I told you, nutrition and exercise are two sides of coin. If you just keep exercising and put in wrong foods, like typically, as she said, not at all. If it's not nutrition dense, if it has no nutritive value, it's just basically like typically maida-based foods. They are so bad. Sugars, they're so bad. They will only cause harm to your body and unnecessarily go into the wrong places and get stored as fat. And even only unless and until, yes, there are certain cases, yes, they do eat whatever they, and they still don't really gain much of body fat, or they don't land up into these conditions, these chronic conditions, because they are mainly the ectomorphic kinds, the very thin kinds, because their energy requirement is so high. So whatever they eat, they burn it off immediately and it goes whoop. But typically a mesomorphic or endomorphic kind, mesomorphic is the muscular and the endomorphic is the roundish ones. For them, it is a disaster if you are exercising and not following not eating healthy, and not eating a healthy, well-balanced diet. It will just backfire. It will just be staying wherever you are.
Okay. Okay. So,
So I have one thing to add in
yeah,
it.
sure.
See,
Sure.
actually, when you take a lot of empty calories, as ma'am told, it will start storing in your liver. Correct. So that's how it gets converted into your fat. We see a lot of triglycerides being high around 400, 500 and all, because the simple calorie intake is very high. And as she told, it will start storing in your body. So that's how it gets converted to fat. And then burning fat is again very big challenge.
Yeah, true. Ma'am, there have been 2, 3 other questions that I would like to sum up and put it into one umbrella for that matter. One, people are asking about what about these food that is contaminated, grown through pesticides? Is it really good? And also, there are these foods that readily available, as Deepa was saying, that you just click a mobile app and you have food at your food doorstep. So when these things are like that, so what about the restrictions on these minds of people who want to actually follow a healthy diet? How do we control? Because everything is in the mind when it comes to diet and following a regime. So if both of you could share your views on this.
So,
See, pesticides, when we say basically washing and cleaning is more important. We don't know where the vegetables are grown, so we just see them in the market. So we
Right.
don't have too much of control on that unless and until you have a garden kitchen and you grow some fruits or vegetables inside your house. Otherwise, maybe soaking it some salt water and making it more healthy, cleaning it and then having. That's the only one option what we can do. Second part is, as I told, this eating out is become fancy for younger generation people, because maybe they are staying out of houses in PGs and hostels and things like that. They don't have time to cook and all this more. But as much as possible, there also I can see some healthy outlets are there where they can order and eat. It's not that all the time you have to order for a biryani. You can order for some sorted vegetables or anything like that. So I think wise decision is more important in that you have to choose what you want.
Right. Well, Deepa, what is your view on this?
so typically, what happens is if I have a person and I mean, the first thing I tell them, please, if you can delete your that apps, let it go for a certain period of time, because it brings in a lot of compulsive eating. And every day I don't think they will land up eating the typically health food. They do land up ordering for the wrong type of food. And these kids, they really stay awake. Younger generation, as she mentioned, they stay awake for a very they really sleep very late. They're awake for a long period of time, and that's the time when they really want all those junk food, and they order immediately to get food for them. So I would prefer, and I when I see the younger crowd coming into my clinic, I tell them first, please delete, keep ready snacks at home, so that you can munch on to them when you are really hungry. SOS, not to just go, I'm hungry and just go and eat. So keep those ready snacks, like some veggies and hummus or a bowl of dahi or some fruits, something like that, and eat proper balanced food that's cooked at home. And again, if a person is working, meal prep is very important. Meal prep is very important. Maybe Saturday, Sunday, you sit and meal prep. Everything cut off your vegetables and on fridge. We have a big refrigerator to store our food. I know the nutritional values do come down, but at least it's better than eating from outside food, cutting all vegetables and keeping it for maybe for 3 days, and then cook them, just steaming them and putting a tadka to it and taking them, and just making a dough and keeping the dough also ready in the fridge, making chapatis. Or if a person is not vegetarian, keep the fish or the chicken marinated, just stir fry them and take them and go. That's the way how it works.
Right.
Or when you come back late at night, you're tired, you don't feel like cooking, pressure cooker, the biggest friend at that point of time. Put rice, dal, make a khichdi and all the vegetables in it. And with a bowl of curd, you have that khichdi. So it's a balanced meal again. So one can, but if the person is focused and wants to lead a healthy living, but that's all in the mind. Yes, it has to be really talked and talked. Yes, mind has to be really
true. Yes. So we've all spoken about food and food as a means of healthy living, for the healthy living. But there's one last question that I would like to close this session, is that a lot of them keep asking about intermittent fasting, where there's no food at all for some time, for a healthy living again. So while we talk on one side, food for healthy living, and there's another side, the fasting process. So Pavithra ma'am, so what do you have to say about your views on intermittent fasting? How is it, and what happens?
See, intermediate fasting, we need to see a person's condition also. There are a lot of comorbid patients with high diabetic, with a lot of insulin intake, the sugars more than 400, 500, and things like that. So intermittent fasting, as people say, it's not like everybody can do. Okay, they have to consult and take a call whether it is feasible for them, whether it is okay for their health condition to do. So then they can do it. But see, intermittent fasting, what I can say is, you can have your breakfast and then give a gap in between. You can have some healthy options of like watermelon or like cucumber mint juice in the morning when you have breakfast around 8 o'clock. Again, you can have dinner by 8 o'clock, and keeping in between very light. That is not for everybody. So as I told, clinical condition plays a very important role, and then we might have to judge whether the person can do intermediate fasting or not. Because when
All
I
right.
say yes, there are a lot of people, they go with our words telling that dietitian madam told we can do intermediate
So
fasting.
okay.
So I am very judgmental in that, because people hear us. So we have to sit and analyze a patient's condition, and then we can take a call whether they can do it or not.
Right. Absolutely. Deepa, yes. What do
Yes.
you think?
So typically, see, I'm talking in terms of weight loss. People come to my clinic and the first thing say, I do intermittent fasting because of
Okay.
I want weight loss. And I do very well. I can do intermittent fasting. The main concept is, if you're doing an intermittent fasting, you're reducing your calories. So automatically there will be weight loss. But again, as Pavithra just said, typically it's not meant for everybody.
Okay.
Diabetics, especially diabetics on insulin and medication, should never do it. And if a person cannot stand hunger, I mean, cannot be really hungry for a long period of time, need not do, So what generally they skip their breakfast. They say, no, I will eat at 6 o'clock at night and I will eat my next meal at 10. And they are hungry, they are irritable, they're everything, all that. I said, no, you eat your meal and just manage that calories that you require in proper 3 or 4 meals or 5 meals. The whole concept was earlier why they were so much into intermittent fasting was it lowers down your insulin levels, and hence you can manage your insulin levels much better, and your sugar levels can also be controlled in a better way. So this was what they came up with. But typically, again, the new research has been found about intermittent fasting that it's just calorie reduction. The minute you reduce calorie, you eat less, automatically your sugar levels will naturally come to a decent place. You have to eat. Yeah, it will come. So that is the reason why people got those results that time also. So you need not really, keep biting your nails, tearing your hair, and do that intermittent fasting and, hurt yourself and torture yourself and stop eating from this time to that time. No, you can actually, but yes, once in a while, if you want to give a fast, it's very good for the body. Indian cultures do follow fasting methods. That is good for the body. A lot of it has been spoken about autophagy, regeneration of, throwing off the old cells and regeneration of the new cells. That's good. Once in a while, if you do it, it's absolutely fine. And in that also, you will again manage your calories well. So I'm talking absolutely in terms of weight loss perspective.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm sure what Pavithra and Deepa has brought to us today are very mixed opinions, and also about how food, when it's enjoyed, when it is being home cooked, and when it is from your own kitchen, how it leads to a healthy living. So that's exactly the point that we wanted to bring this discussion on food for thought and healthy living, and how do we see this as a whole perspective. And it was a lovely interaction with you both. And thank you so much, Ms. Pavithra, and thank you so much, Ms. Deepa. And thank you, audience. You've been a great listeners and great participation today. And we do have a lot of questions, but those questions are very specific on what food exactly I need to take, and what multivitamin tablets that I need to take. So we will take that questions offline with the dietitians here. And once again, thank you so much, participants. Thank you so much, panelists, for joining with me today.
Most welcome. It was a pleasure being here.